Hey guys, it's Shadow the Rat, and unfortunately today will be my last video in this series on Donut and her pituitary gland tumor, because Donut has passed away. And I'm not quite sure what happened. She didn't seem to have any issues for the longest time. For over 10.5 months she did just fine on medication. She had no return to pituitary gland symptoms, and even though she had some other health issues pop up, they all seemed to be under control and they didn't really seem to be affecting her too much. Although of course I couldn't really tell what was going on internally, so I was just judging this off her behavior. Now the day that Donut passed, I ended up seeing her 4 different times. The first time was in the morning when I was giving her her doxycycline, and she was completely fine then. In fact, she was ready before I was, as she always was, waiting at the cage door, begging to come out. And she took her meds no problem, and then she took some treats no problem, and she seemed completely fine. Then I saw her again in early afternoon. I was going to run some errands, and I said hi to the rats who were awake, which was my younger rats, and Donut ended up coming out and saying hi as well, and she got some treats again and just got some attention as usual. And then I saw her again when I came back, which was about 2 hours later. I believe it was like 5:30 p.m. And she again was completely fine. She said hi to me when I came in. She was always one of the first rats to come to the cage door whenever anyone came downstairs, which is where their cage is, or whenever anyone came through the garage, which is connected to the room where their cage is. They're in our finished basement, which kind of acts as like a family room. But anyways, Donut was always there to greet you, and she was always one of the first ones at the door of the cage, that is. And so I wasn't surprised to see her. Again, said hi to her, gave her a treat, and that was pretty much that. And then I came downstairs about an hour and a half later to give Donut her meds, like I always do. And Donut knew this med schedule so well. She was always at the cage door waiting as soon as I came by for meds. And all the other rats would come out too because they'd get treats at the time. And so when I saw that everyone was awake but Donut, I immediately knew that something was probably off. And then I noticed her tail was sticking out of a box that she had been sleeping in. And the box was shaking and her tail was moving. And so I thought initially maybe she was just like digging around or something, but she wasn't coming out when I was calling her or tapping on her tail, so I reached in and pulled her out. And that's unfortunately when I realized that she was in the process of passing away. I know this because she just, she was not very responsive. And she was completely limp except for tremors that were racking her front and hind legs. It was very, very awful to see. And I just immediately knew that she wasn't going to make it to any emergency vet, and even if she did, they couldn't do anything. So I took her out and I sat with her, and after about 15 minutes, she took 5 gasping breaths, and then she passed away. So all in all, I don't know exactly what happened, because like I said, she was fine for most of the day, and then suddenly sometime in that hour and a half period between when I last saw her and she was completely fine and when I came to give her meds, she had just gone downhill so rapidly. And I suspect that what may have happened is that her pituitary gland tumor might have become resistant to cabergoline, which can happen and does happen in a lot of cases. And Donut, I thought she was very lucky because she had already gotten over 10.5 months back with this medication, which is, insane. I mean, even for rats who do well in cabergoline, they usually don't get that much time back. And Donut was also very old, over 2 years and 9 months. So I did know she was going to go sooner than later, but obviously I was hoping for later, especially because she was doing quite well for her age and everything going on with her. But yeah, I think that her pituitary gland tumor probably came back and that she was just asymptomatic, and then suddenly, it impinged on the wrong spot or created too much pressure and crushed the rest of her brain and essentially just caused her to pass. She went into cardiac arrest or something like that because her breathing wasn't like labored or anything like that when I found her. She seemed to be doing just fine there. I just could tell that she was passing because of how limp she was and the tremors in like her legs and arms, because those are usually signs of some neurological issue going on. So yeah, unfortunately, that's what happened with Donut. I am glad that she passed pretty fast and that she was able to pass at home. Obviously, I wish she had passed in her sleep at home, but I'm glad that her passing wasn't extended and she didn't like suffer a lot. And yeah, that's unfortunately what happened. You know, I just can't help but wish she was still here. But you know, at the end of the day, she did have a really good life and she lived a long time, way longer than I thought. Because she was first diagnosed with her pituitary gland tumor right before she turned 23 months. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Like I said, this is the final update in this series. I might do another video just talking about what treatment we did specifically for Donut and like dosing that we used in particular for each medication. But other than that, I'm going to be pretty much closing this series because Donut is now gone. And, you know, it's been a good run. I'm very glad that Donut got so much extra time. And I'm glad that this series seemed to inspire some people to try treatment. I think it's definitely worth a shot because even if it doesn't work a lot of the time, in the cases where it does work, you can get a lot of quality time back. And Donut certainly got a lot of quality time back. So yeah, I will see you guys later. Goodbye. My sweet little bean. Sweet girls.